qualify for this year's FedEx Cup. The FedEx Cup is their end of the season, NASCAR Sprint Cup type of, it's their version of that. And to make the FedEx Cup consists of 4 golf tournaments, and to make the first tournament, you need to be one of the top 125 golfers that year. And if Tiger Woods doesn't finish in the top half of the next tournament he plays in, he will not be one of the top 125 golfers in the world this year. Now, this would be the first time ever that Tiger Woods, I'm pretty sure, has missed this, or at least the first time where he was a full-time, had a full season, or, semi-full season, I should say. But either way, if you need it, good golly, Miss Molly, if you need it, more definitive proof, which you shouldn't, by the way, that Tiger Woods' career as a winning professional golfer is over. This is it. Okay, he can't even make a tournament where you only have to be one of the best 125 golfers. Alright? So there, please sit on that. Let that roll around in your brain until you finally get it that, I don't need to care at all about Tiger Woods, and I should care about the great professional golf that's being played right now by Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy and Jason Day and Dustin Johnson and these other guys out there. All right, and so then I brought up Spieth, last thing on golf, and then we'll get to wrestling. With his second place finish, that's right, guess who the runner-up was to Jason Day's 20 under, which was a record, by the way, ever, as I mentioned. Any major ever, 20 under was the record for the tournament Jason Day set. Jordan Spieth finished 17 under, which just about any year would have been the winner. And he was your second place winner. So that put an end to Jordan Spieth's 2015 major season as this. He won the Masters. He won the United States Open. He finished tied for 4th at the British Open, where he was 1 stroke behind the top 3 leaders who went on to the playoff. So he lost by 1 stroke, tied for 4th in the third one. And then he finished 3 strokes behind in sole possession of second place with a 17 under in his last one. So 1-1, tied for 4, and second is how Jordan Spieth finished in the majors this year. And I have been saying it since after the Masters, not as a knee-jerk reaction, but because I was watching all the golf in the season leading up to the Masters. I don't start watching my golf season at the Masters. I start watching my golf season in January at places like Kapalua, and then in February at places like Pebble Beach. So I was saying, after the Masters win, Jordan Spieth is your number 1 ranked golfer in the world, even though he was not. And then especially after he went back-to-back and won the U.S. Open, Jordan Spieth has got to be the number 1 ranked golfer in the world. Nope, he's not. Well, then he ends up, 1 stroke behind, tied for 4th in the third major. I'm like, Jordan Spieth has got to be the number 1 golfer in the world, but he's not. Finally, in the 4th and final major this year, Jordan Spieth finishes in second place. He didn't finish outside of 4th in a single major this year. 1, 1, 4, and 2 were his finishes respectively. Finally, they have updated the world golf rankings to be the current world golf rankings. And they have Jordan Spieth ranked number 1. So congratulations to Jordan Spieth, the newly crowned number 1 golfer in the world. Although in reality you have been the number 1 golfer in the world for several months now. It has just been made official by whoever the heck is allowed to make that official list. All right, so there is your golf talk for the show as well. And coming up here in just a moment, we're going to be talking a whole bunch of pro wrestling, and then we'll squeeze in just a few quickies before we get to our Balls Deep thought of the day. Thanks for tuning in. Got plenty of show left. Scotty Ball, Balls Deep Sports Talk, WNLM Radio. Thank you so much. All right, well, it is that time of the show. Like I said, here making his record-setting third, count them 1, 2, 3, special guest appearances on Balls Deep Sports Talk to help me preview this coming Sunday's WWE SummerSlam pay-per-view and recap what happened last night on Monday Night Raw, or this Monday, 2 nights ago on Monday Night Raw, and other pro wrestling related news. The one and only Doug Sanders. Welcome to the show, Doug Sanders.
Hola.
Very nice. Now, you and I both had the pleasure of being in attendance 2 nights ago this past Monday at Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota to watch Monday Night Raw. What were your thoughts and feelings on this week's Monday Night Raw?
I thought it was a pretty good Raw overall. There can only be some adjustments, like making the Divas match not the last match of the night, switching out the tag match basically. Some of the chants might have been pretty funny, of course. The Seth and John Cena was one of the better contract signings, I think, in WWE history. And the Brock homecoming has got to be the best thing since it was in Minnesota, and that's Brock's hometown, of course.
Oh, yes. No, I agree with all those things. The Suplex City t-shirts were sold out by the time everybody cleared out of the Target Center building, as they said, Suplex City, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm curious if he has sold out of those anywhere else, as they do make specific ones to each town they're in that he's at. Like a week ago or two when they were in Cleveland, it said Suplex City, Cleveland, Ohio. But of course, Brock being from Minnesota, yeah, that one sold out at the Target Center.
And you can't get those shirts on the WWE shop, of course, too, because like they can't have a specific town on the shop, too. So it's just the regular shirt without any specific city on it.
Right, exactly. Good point. Now, yeah, you brought up the chants on Monday Night Raw. I wanted to touch on that real quick. A lot of people on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot were upset Monday night and Tuesday because during the Sasha Banks versus Nikki Bella match, which was at the end of the show, right before the Brock Lesnar homecoming celebration in his home of Minnesota, the crowd started chanting, "We want Lesnar. We want Lesnar." You know. And I did not participate in this chant. Not because I didn't want Lesnar. I very much wanted Lesnar. And
everyone wanted Lesnar.
Exactly. And I understood where the crowd was coming from. But I do also understand how people in the industry interpret a chant from the crowd like that. And so immediately, you know, taking to social media, you've seen all kinds of people upset, viewing it as disrespectful and unacceptable to the, you know, ever do that and treat divas that way during a match.
Especially considering they're doing a Divas Revolution type thing at this time. They're promoting as the Divas Revolution, so it kind of makes people even more upset that this is happening during that time, which they're trying to promote.
Exactly, and Mick Foley was one of the people who was very outspoken about his disappointment in that chant, and I had the opportunity to tweet with Mr. Foley about the subject afterwards, and we discussed the idea of it simply being a booking issue and that it wasn't really anything personal or disrespectful to either of the divas or any of the divas for that matter. I believe if you would have just simply switch that Divas match and the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match.
Basically the 8-man tag.
The 8-man tag team match, yes, that they had. If you would have simply switched those around on the match card, the crowd would not have chanted "We want Lesnar" during the Nikki Sasha match, and it would have chanted it during the tag match. It was simply where it was placed on the card and where the event was being held. And then also the other thing I added was that Nikki Bella was confirmed to be working injured, and I felt that that was a factor in their performances in the ring, as they weren't allowed to do a lot of very exciting, entertaining physical moves, and you saw a lot more, entertainer interaction with the fans and a lot more taunting back and forth between the performers and things of that nature. But anyway, we are sorry if our crowd offended anyone when we were chanting that, but to clarify for anyone who saw that and had a problem, it was nothing personal and wasn't even directed really towards Nikki and Sasha at all. It was simply a hometown thing, and they were booked right before the hometown heroes, big celebration, and like I said, I think if Nikki would have been healthy, they'd have had a great match, and we wouldn't have chanted that. Yes, that's true, but it is what it is, and it wasn't anything personal.
Definitely.
All right, so let's see. Anything else from? I suppose that's about it for Monday Night Raw. We had a great time, though.
Yes.
Had great seats, and if you follow the show at BDST Show on Twitter, you can see several wonderful pictures and exclusive video that I took and posted of the Raw off-air, when Brock was in the ring, got back up from his tombstone finally, that Undertaker gave him to send us off the air, and he took the mic and talked to the crowd for about 30 seconds, and I got that all on video. It turned out pretty good, and I shared that on Twitter, so more reason to follow Balls Deep Sports Talk on Twitter at BDST Show.
Latest updates frequently, I guess.
Yes. All right, now just two quick things in regards to SummerSlam to start our SummerSlam preview off with now. First off, on Tuesday morning, it was wonderful. I set the DVR, and on Tuesday morning, SportsCenter from 8 to 9 o'clock, Brock Lesnar appeared and gave an extremely entertaining, enjoyable 10 to 15 minute interview on ESPN. It was very real of an interview. The words fake were used and rehearsed, and it's all very honest. None of it's done in character or as a official work.
He's a better talker also when he's not against a bunch of people, when he's actually just in a chair with another guy talking about stuff. He talks way better too. I
agree. He is, for a guy who's always had a big mouthpiece do all the talking for him in Paul Heyman. A guy like Brock who's never used the mic a whole lot on WWE. He is actually very good on the mic in one-on-one situations like that. I think he's just uncomfortable talking in front of a large group of people, like an arena or something. But that was great. And then also coming up on Sunday, Coachman, Jonathan Coachman.
Yep, he previously worked with WWE.
That's
too.
Right. He is currently an anchor and an analyst and employee for ESPN, and he will be at SummerSlam.
Giving a live coverage of it, basically.
Doing live coverage of it, yes. From like an ESPN booth setup, what have you. And we saw this with WWE and ESPN around WrestleMania time, with them partnering up and using each other to create awareness for the WWE events and things like that. Later on in May, the hit E60 documentary series for ESPN also did a WWE related one on NXT. The ESPN has done big Make-A-Wish documentary segments involving John Cena. But so you really hear, since April, May, June, July, in the last 5 months, we've really seen ESPN starting to get involved and participate and be a part of WWE events. And I think that is just a huge, awesome thing for WWE and can't yield anything but good results for both the WWE and ESPN.